Good morning, beautiful people. Dominic here with another video, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the motor oil pan on a 2009 Hyundai Elantra. But first, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Tools needed: ratchet and extension, 10mm socket, 14mm socket, oil filter wrench, flathead screwdriver, hammer, paint scraper or chisel, and an 8mm hex bit socket. Alright, so once you got the cars jacked up on jack stands, let's get up under here. Alright, this panel right below the oil pan, that has to be removed first. And you can see right here, while I'm changing my oil pan, very rusty, very rusty. For these 3 screws on this panel below the oil pan, you're gonna need a 10mm socket. So you're gonna need a 14mm socket and ratchet. And I'm using a pipe on the end of my ratchet because I'm pretty sure it's rusty and difficult to get the screw off. Well, we'll see. Actually, it was easy to get it off. Alright, so go ahead and get your oil pan to catch all this oil about to come down. And what I like to do is get back on top and remove the motor oil cap. And I like to raise my dipstick. Let the air get to it. That'll help the oil drain much faster underneath. And then I'll come back a little later. Alright, so here's the oil filter. And you're gonna need a basic wrench for it. Alright, now that I finally got it loose, slide my oil pan a little closer. Alright, next you're gonna need a 10mm socket to remove all the bolts around this pan. Alright, now that all 11 screws are removed from the oil pan, I'm gonna get a flathead screwdriver and try to pry it out. As you can see, this oil pan is a piece of work getting it down. So I had to get my screwdriver up in here. So I used the hammer and kept hammering this in there until I seen it go in, and I kept hammering harder, and then I was able to get this side open a little bit. And you just pull it down. And so this is my oil pan. Pretty rusty. So you want to get your scraper and get this old gasket off. Scrape all the way around here. And you can also use brake cleaner to help you. So let's get this gasket off. So I got most of the glue off on the inside except this little piece right here. But I'll get back to that. Main thing is you just want to get all that thick glue up off here, because the glue is no longer sticky, so it won't be helpful for you at all. Got a little scrubbing brush and some brake cleaner. Try to get the rest of that stuff up off there. Make sure you have some glasses on or something. Keep this brake cleaner from spraying all in your eye. A little scrubbing brush. Try to do the best I can. Because if it's like a lot of glue left on there, then the new stuff that you put on there to sell it, to make the new gasket, it won't stick. So just try to clean it the best you can. Spots the scrubbing brush just can't get, so you just gotta get your little scraper and go back over it. And just get a towel and go over it. Brake cleaner left, just wipe it up. A new oil pan. Look exactly like the old one. I would match it up on camera, but the old oil pan was so rusted it was leaking oil, and I don't want to get oil everywhere. Okay, I'll be using Permatex Ultra Black gasket maker, and I chose this one because it's oil resistant. A lot of people use RTV, but AutoZone just didn't have it this time. Alright, so when creating a gasket, all you have to do is just follow these lines. Just put gasket maker in these lines right here. Go around the screw. A lot of people just go under the screw, but go around the screw. That's how I like to make it. And just follow these lines. Go around the screw, follow these lines. First thing first. When installing your oil pan, make sure your oil drain plug is facing the rear of the car. Otherwise, you're putting it on wrong. And make sure all 11 screws are in there. You want to put 2 screws in at the same time. That's how I did it. I put the screw in on the left and the screw in on the right at the same time and began to screw, and it was held up pretty easy. And then I just went around putting the rest of the screws in. As you can see, my gasket is a little bit messy. Yes, I did use a little bit too much, but better safe than sorry. Try my best to put it in a crisscross fashion. Put one on the left, one on the right. Basically, when you put one on one side, put it on the opposite side. And I'm going to tighten this up crisscross fashion. I put the screws in crisscross fashion, hand tighten it crisscross fashion, and I'm going to tighten it with my ratchet crisscross fashion. Alright, so once you're done, just make sure, just go over every screw and make sure it's tight, double check. And another thing, if you plan on keeping a new drain plug that came with the oil pan, then you're going to need an 8mm hex bit socket to tighten it and loosen it. Like I said, you need an 8mm hex bit. This drain plug. Once the gasket and everything is dry, just go over that drain plug and make sure it's tight. Well, I'll put the filter in and the oil in, and then we're going to test this thing to make sure it don't leak. Here's the oil filter I'll be using for this car. STP. Alright, so before you install the oil filter, make sure you take your finger, dip it in a little oil, and oil this rubber gasket around here. Now that I oil the gasket and some fresh oil, let's go ahead and install this. Make sure you hand tighten it. Make sure it's pretty tight. And you're going to want one of these wrenches to go over it and tighten it a little bit more. That way you won't get any leaks. Alright, nice and tight. Now let's get the motor oil. You're going to need 5W20. Alright, so get you some 5W20 motor oil. Put your cap back on. Now I was told this take 2 to 3 hours to fully dry. But I left it sitting for 24 hours. Like I said, better safe than sorry. But to each his own. Now let's give it a start. Make sure there's no leaks. Right now with the car running, you want to get back under there and check for leaks. Check around your oil pan, make sure there ain't no oil coming out the gasket. I'm fine in this department because I jam-packed it with gasket maker. Check to make sure your oil filter is tight. Also check to make sure your drain plug is not leaking. In this case, I'm fine. No leaks. Day 2. Still no leaks. If you made it this far, then congratulations, because you just saved yourself $500. And that's how you replace an oil pan on a 2009 Hyundai Elantra. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.